Hey friends, Thursday edition of Daily Dub. It has been the week of dub. You had a mini dub last night. It premiered at 11:45 Eastern Time. Trying to do some things sometimes in different time zones because everybody is not in the East Coast time zone in America. So I try to do that to help everybody out from time to time. I hope you enjoyed that. That was yesterday. Had a good evening with my older sister Kimberly. We had a good time. Got some good food, some hunting in, all that jazz. And you've had a bunch of trailers this week, some old ones, a brand new one yesterday, daily dubs most days, dub life, all that jazz, a week of dub, a live stream, rub it. You know what I'm talking about. Today's question will be a shorter daily dub today. It comes from Adam Fry from, I don't know when, Adam, you asked me this like 2 months ago and I missed it somehow. But his question was, if I could recast Lord of the Rings with today's folks, who would I use? Now, I can't cast everybody. I'm not going to go through every single character, but I thought to scope that question a little bit, we will do the Fellowship, the 9 members of the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, this is hard. I'm not necessarily thinking about the size of people. Obviously, a lot of that stuff was shot using forced perspective for different sizes. I'm not thinking about the way people look today. I'm just thinking about what I would like to see, understanding that actors can completely change the way they look. They can lose weight, they can gain weight, they can grow beards and hairs and Johnsons. Oh, hey, and all of that kind of stuff. So let's just start. First, we'll start with Merry and Pippin. And those are kind of hard characters to cast. They play really kind of genuine, sympathetic roles, but they're relatively minor characters. So I just picked 2 actors that I like, that I think it would be interesting if they played Merry and Pippin. And that is Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo. I think it would be just quite tongue-in-cheek interesting if the 2 actors that played Hulk in the MCU played Merry and Pippin in Lord of the Rings, played Little Hobbits. I think that's funny. Both of those guys are excellent actors. Edward Norton was one of my very favorite actors for years and years and years. I love the movie Primal Fear, American History X. He was wonderful in that. Obviously, Seven. I think a movie called The Score. There are a lot of movies that I really, really like. Primal Fear especially. He's wonderful in that. I think he won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in that movie when he was pretty young. Over time, his fame has kind of diminished, and certainly he was Hulk. He got recast. He wanted creative control of the script and all that stuff. But I think he's a wonderful actor, and Ruffalo also is a wonderful actor. I like Ruffalo very much in the Catch Me If You Can movies, and I think it's Shutter Island. Is that right that he's in? He's had some really diverse roles, and I just think they'd be fun as Merry and Pippin. For Boromir, who's only going to make it through one of the movies, and if that's a spoiler, then I'm sorry because the books are 100 years old. I would cast Jason Momoa. We need Jason Momoa in things. And, Boromir's kind of a bombastic guy, has the turn back and forth, and ends up being the savior to the hobbits before he gets killed. And I think that's perfect for Jason Momoa. I think his personality be really strong in that. But you don't need a character like Momoa or an actor like Momoa for the whole trilogy because he's too strong. He's going to dominate so many scenes because of the way he is. And Lord of the Rings is so good because of the ensemble cast. So I picked Momoa for Boromir. For Legolas, I picked Hugh Jackman, which I think may surprise some people. Hugh Jackman is actually such a well-rounded actor, and I'm not thinking Wolverine Hugh Jackman when I'm thinking this, or Logan Hugh Jackman. I'm actually thinking like Les Miserables Hugh Jackman as Jean Valjean. I'm thinking the Hugh Jackman that come from stage and can sing and all of these things. That is a much lighter in tone, or a much more maybe the term is delicate actor than sometimes what we see with him as Wolverine. Then Logan, different kind of performance. So Legolas is an important character because he's often like the pure good in this story. And so I think Hugh Jackman would be a good one for that. For Gimli, it's really easy, I think. If we're going to have Gimli, we need Peter Dinklage to do it. You're going to see a lot of familiar names from either Marvel or Game of Thrones in this. In fact, all of them are probably Marvel, DC, or Game of Thrones that are going to be on my list. So I think Peter Dinklage would be excellent as Gimli, and I think the dynamic of him and Hugh Jackman, because the Legolas Gimli dynamic is so important in these, would be a lot of fun. Now, the big four characters, in my opinion, of the Fellowship, we have Aragorn. Who better to be Aragorn than Chris Evans, Captain America himself? I think he would be a wonderful Aragorn. So much of Aragorn is the fragility of Strider and his deep loyalty to Frodo. And then as it grows into the Isildur's there and the commander of the troops and the speech at the Blackgate and all of that, Chris Evans is the guy. You know, it's recency right now for us, but the question is about recent actors. For Gandalf, Michael Caine. I think that's perfect. I think if you just look at his time as Alfred in the Dark Knight trilogy, you can easily see him being Gandalf as the shepherd, as the wise one, as the protector. I just think he would be wonderful. For Sam, this is going to be kind of cheating, but I'm going to pick Sam. I'm going to pick John Bradley. I think John Bradley in Game of Thrones, playing Sam Tarly, who was a very similar role to Jon Snow as Samwise Gamgee is to Frodo. I think he would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. He is such an endearing actor. He makes you fall in love with him. And I think he'd be really, really good in that role. And because the Sam and Frodo Buddy Cop show is such an important part of the show, I think he'd work well with who I'm going to pick for Frodo. My final pick, Tom Holland. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland would be fabulous as Frodo. And I think that the most from the Infinity War stuff with him, where you just see him really dig into his role as he's about to turn into dust. He's talking to Tony, and you just see how emotionally involved he can get you. Frodo has to capture you and take you as the viewer on the journey to Mordor. And I think Tom Holland is a brilliant young actor who's going to be just a superstar for many years to come. I think he'd be perfect. So that is a fun one. Adam, thank you very much for that question. Leave in the comments if you have suggestions, people you'd like to see or think could fill those roles. I'd say especially focus on the big ones, Aragorn, Gandalf, Frodo, and Sam, because they're so important. Anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow with another Daily Dub. Go ahead on now. Hey, if I had said, well, we can say that this is Smog, even though it's not. Who is it?